Coming up on Network Africa, Senegalese fans celebrate country's win at the 2025 AFCON. Fans clash with authorities in Morocco, Paris, and the Netherlands. Plus updates from the World Economic Forum going on in Davos, Switzerland. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Joke Rogers in Lagos. As it's the start of the week, let's explore some of the stories that made headlines over the weekend.
I'm telling you this.
It was celebrations galore for supporters of Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, who was declared winner of last Thursday's presidential election.
We are ready to put an end to this indiscipline.
According to the Electoral Commission, Museveni received more than 71.6% of the vote. His closest challenger, Bobi Wine, took 24.7%. He has rejected the results as fake. Turnout for this election was just 52%, the lowest in Uganda since 2006. Election observers say the poll was marred by violence, arrests, and abductions that instilled fear. Meanwhile, Bobi Wine said he had escaped from house arrest after police denied claims from his party that he had been seized by helicopter. Wine's party said a helicopter landed in the grounds of his house in the capital, Kampala, and forcibly took him to an unknown location.
They used ladders to climb over our fence. They cut off our electricity. They cut off our cameras. And they were being assisted by a helicopter that was hovering in the sky of our compound and providing them light as they were doing what they were doing. Amidst that raid, I was able to use my skills and escape my house. But I know they're looking for me. But even if they succeed and get me and do whatever, I want to say this to you, fellow Ugandans. First and foremost, we reject whatever is being declared by Mr. Byabakama, because those so-called results that they're declaring are fake and they don't in any way reflect what happened at the polling stations or what is at the declaration forms.
The Ugandan police, however, dismissed claims that Bobi Wine was arrested, calling the reports deceitful.
Some of these allegations are being paraded by his family members. What I would like to say is these are deceitful and insightful allegations intended to depict the security agencies of Uganda as brutal and violators of rights of a political candidate.
The accusations come amid Uganda's presidential election on January 15, which saw an internet blackout, heavy security deployments, and disputed early results. Finally, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, is touring Sudan, meeting families displaced by the country's ongoing conflict, in his first visit since November 2022. During the tour, Turk said he was shaken by the testimonies of survivors he met, especially women and girls who have endured sexual violence. He described meeting 9 survivors who shared what he called horrific stories, saying he had rarely encountered individuals so deeply traumatized.
I've met with national authorities, I've met, as you can see from behind, with local representatives of civil society organizations, NGOs, international NGOs and so forth, and what they are telling me is about the horrible plight that many people, many survivors of this horrific war are going through every day.
According to Turk, the women recounted being subjected to gang rape in the Darfur city of El Fasher as they attempted to flee violence, while male relatives, including brothers and sons, were taken away and killed in front of them. Since the conflict began, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has documented widespread sexual violence being used as a weapon of war.
We'll be revisiting the outcome of the Uganda presidential election in a bit, but first, the joy of the Senegalese fans knew no bounds on Sunday as they celebrated the country's win at the just concluded African Cup of Nations in Morocco. Supporters at the Prince Abdallah Stadium sang, danced and saluted the players from the stands before pouring out onto the streets. The final was halted late in normal time after Morocco were awarded a penalty for a foul on Brahim Diaz, prompting protests from the players and a short walk-off towards the tunnel. Play was suspended for nearly 10 minutes before both teams returned and the match resumed. Senegal broke the deadlock in extra time with a goal in the 94th minute, rewarding the team with the lead in extra time until the end of the showdown. This is Senegal's second Africa Cup of Nations title following their 2021 triumph, while Morocco remains without a continental title since 1976, despite reaching the final on home soil. Back in Senegal, the streets of the capital Dakar erupted in celebration on Sunday night as well as fans gathered in large numbers to watch Senegal defeat Morocco. Supporters filled major roads in the capital with cars draped in Senegalese flags. Police monitored the crowds and fans danced on rooftops and on the streets as they watched the match on big screens. After Senegal secured the win, emotion ran high among the fans. Many said God was with them from the start of the competition to the end. Amidst the celebration, and as astonishing as the match was between Morocco and Senegal, there was support of violence at the stadium as one of the players fired Senegal to the title in extra time. The match was overshadowed by violent altercations between Senegal supporters and Moroccan authorities, as well as both teams, after a VAR decision in stoppage time. Stewards and riot police were forced to intervene, belatedly creating a barrier between the fans and the pitch, with projectiles being thrown onto the turf and the Senegalese supporters jumping onto the electronic boardings and dismantling the display down one side of the pitch. Several Senegal fans were removed by authorities, while one steward was taken out on a stretcher after appearing to sustain an injury to his upper body. There was also reports of violent clashes in The Hague on Sunday following Senegal's victory over Morocco. Police ran after rioters with smoke rising and flames from flares and fireworks on the streets, while Moroccan flags waved from cars. And in Paris, police dispersed large crowds of Senegalese supporters in Chateau Rouge district late on Sunday. Fans waved flags, chanted and blocked roads as police formed cordons, pushed the crowds back and deployed tear gas as reinforcements arrived. Several people were detained as officers searched vehicles and sealed off and monitored streets. Joining me now is Head of News and Current Affairs at the Adami Mogo 93.1 FM in Lagos, and Ayo Adekaye, who is in this instance moonlighting as a sports journalist in Casablanca. Ayo, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Good evening to you. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin from the clashes of last night. Was it scary enough for anyone at the stadium that this could escalate into something more serious?
I was in the stadium myself, and for a game of this magnitude, it is expected at certain points that emotions will spill over. Of course, for Morocco, they had to battle through 6 different teams to get to this level. Same thing for Senegal. And they're the hosts. Like you rightly said earlier, 1976 was the last time they came this close. So as a Moroccan, you would expect that your country will win on home soil. And imagine the preparation for the celebration. I remember that from my way to Casablanca to Rabat, I saw a huge lion statue being transferred to Rabat just in preparation for the tournament. And so it is expected that something like that will happen. But at this point, we have to give kudos to the organizers, to the security guys. They were able to manage the situation, and it ended as well and peaceful as it should be.
Right, and as we speak, I suppose the AFCON Cup is on its way to Dakar, Senegal. What did you make of the game on Sunday?
Well, Senegal did what Nigeria could not do, obviously. As they've been saying on the streets, they saw the pass question from Nigeria, and that helped them win. The pressure from the stadium was massive. A stadium of over 68,000 capacity, 90% of them Moroccans. What happened against Nigeria was that the pressure was much, the intimidation was much, and our players could not stomach it. But Senegal was able to do that. They stood their ground, they came to play, and they did that. So the game plan worked for them, the intimidation did not work for them, and they won at the end of the day. I would also say that the coach is someone who is brilliant. He was able to tell his players to maintain composure and just stick to the script. Whatever happens, whatever kind of thing they throw at you, play your game and stick to it. I think that was what they did, and that worked out for them. Yes, aside what happened with the penalty and they wanted to leave the pitch, they came back, they played, and they won.
Right, a quick one there. I'm reacting to that. Do you not suppose that, Senegal learned a lesson from Nigeria's game with Morocco, saying that, oh, this is, what happened. We're going to learn from this and, do better than, what Nigeria did?
It only makes sense because in this tournament, arguably, the best team is Nigeria. You'd look at all of the games that the Super Eagles played. We scored at least 2 goals or more in all of the tournament. Every other team managed the goal until they got to the final, Senegal, Morocco. So if you do not learn or fail to learn from the best team, who later had to settle for the 3rd position, then you're not ready for the final. At certain points, we saw that the towel of our goalkeeper, Stanley Nwabali, was toyed with. Some people will come to the pitch and take it here and there. It happened also with Senegal, with Senegal's keeper, Mendy. But they found a way to manage because they had seen that such happened to Nigeria. The pressure, every time Nigeria had the ball in the game against Morocco, the fans would scream and yell and boo them. And that got to the players. Yeah, they may not want to accept it openly, but it got to them. Senegal also saw that, and they worked on it. The fans did their thing, booing and the noise. But Senegal, as calm as you like, it didn't get to them. So I think they got the assignment and they did it right.
Right, and Nigeria did not get the cup. Many Nigerians, are disappointed that they only could come third at this AFCON. But notwithstanding, they've been praised that they did a fantastic job, as you just painted. What did the team do right this time, in spite of coming third?
Well, what makes a team is the understanding, the unity, the bond in the team. Before now, we had a crop of players who would probably come from abroad, come play a game when we need them to play, not enough time to train, individual brilliance. That's what has carried us until now. But now we have a team that understands each other. They play like brothers. You see them on social media. They're spending time with each other. They're relating. And so when they're on the pitch, Chukwueze understands what he's supposed to do to Bassi. Bassi understands how to play with Iwobi. Iwobi knows how to connect with Osimhen because they've been together. They spend time on and off the pitch. And that's what makes a good team. So kudos to the coach for creating an environment for the players to not just be players, but brothers and friends. Calvin Bassi also said, oh, okay, it was Alex Iwobi during one of the pressers. He said nothing changed about the team, not the tactics, not the players, but the environment, the understanding, the relationship. That's what made them gel, as they say it, that they now understand each other. They know they can play football. Yes, we have some of the best players in the world. Playing football is not a problem, but relationship is the problem, and they have worked on that, and that's the excellence we saw in this AFCON.
Right. Thanks again for joining us on the program and for giving us, your stake on the matter.
Thank you very much for having me.
And still ahead on the program. 13 school children killed after a bus collides with a lorry in South Africa. Please stay with us. Back, supporters of Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni celebrated in Kampala on Saturday after he was declared winner of a 7th term in office. As we said earlier, Mr. Museveni received more than 71.6% of the vote. According to official results, his closest challenger, Bobi Wine, took 24.7% and has rejected the results as fake. Turnout was just 52%, the lowest in Uganda's history since 2006. Election observers say the poll was marred by violence, arrests and abductions that instilled fear. 81-year-old Museveni has been in power since 1986. He's overseen the removal of term and age limits, and some of his rivals have been jailed or sidelined. But supporters credit him for bringing peace and stability to the country. Opposition candidates, Mr. Wine has accused authorities of ballot stuffing, says security forces followed him and harassed his supporters, using tear gas against them. He campaigned in a jacket and helmet because of security fears. The election was marred by a 4-day internet blackout and the failure of biometric voter identification machines that delayed voting in areas including the capital, Kampala. Let's bring in development practitioner and public policy analyst Gideon Ajay Mawuto. He joins us from Accra, Ghana. Gideon, thanks for joining us on the program. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me. Great to see you too.
Right, so President Museveni has been declared winner of Thursday's presidential election. He extends his staying power beyond 40 years. Would you say the people of Uganda really want him there?
Thank you again for the question. I think when in the context of Uganda, it's a two-pronged issue. So we have the urban areas where your youth are usually collated that are actually fatigued with this bit prolonged rule. And then you have people also in the rural and older folks who associate Museveni with stability after the conflicts in the 80s. Right? And so there's this two-pronged issue that is going on here. But then the structural issues within Uganda concerning Museveni staying in power or come back to power is the problem of incumbency advantage and the control over state institutions, and more restriction on opposition activities, and then a media imbalance and repression of sorts. And so politics in Uganda is not straightforward. One can say that the answer to the question you're asking is that the public preference is fragmented and mediated by fear, a sort of patronage, and then a limited political alternative for the public to freely choose who they really want to be in power or be their next president.
And Bobi Wine has been the most embattled on the political scene in the country. He has lost again, according to the Electoral Commission. What precedents does this set for other upcoming elections in Africa, where you have sit-tight presidents and elections are some from or window dressing for long stay for leaders?
So Bobi Wine's loss in this second round of elections points out to something that is happening across Africa, where elections are seen as just rituals than genuine contests or contestations. And so opposition participation is not really a realistic pathway to gain power. And electoral commissions are usually allegedly perceived to be aligned with the incumbents or those in government at the moment. And so the danger is that we see is that opposition may then have fatigue. There may be opposition fatigue in Uganda, where people just come to the conclusions that there's no way things are going to change. And so the mechanisms for elections just become a dress up for to perceive democratic practices. So we are not going to see much of Bobi Wine probably in the next time. What is going to happen is that there will be voter apathy from large swaths of the Ugandan population. There may be extra institutional resistance also, and this can go on to really affect the democratic processes within Uganda.
Right. Thanks again, Gideon. Let's move on. 13 school children have died in South Africa after the minibus they were traveling in collided with a lorry south of the city of Johannesburg. The crash happened this morning around 7 a.m. local time. 11 students died at the scene, while 2 others succumbed to their injuries later on. 2 other pupils remain in critical condition. Police spokesperson Mavela Masondo said the minibus driver crashed into the lorry after attempting to overtake 2 vehicles. Meanwhile, South Africa has sent a team to help with rescue efforts after a local politician was swept away by floodwaters while visiting neighboring Mozambique. Officials say Andile Veno, a councillor in the Ekurhuleni municipality east of Johannesburg, and 4 others were in Mozambique's Gaza province when their car was caught in a flood. The municipality said in a statement that he is the only person accounted for. The status and whereabouts of the other occupants remain unconfirmed. Flooding has devastated parts of both countries and resulted in Mozambican President Daniel Chapo cancelling his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos. The World Economic Forum, talking about that, officially kicks off for today in Davos, Switzerland, bringing together the world's top political leaders, business executives, policymakers and thought leaders for a week of high-level dialogue on the global economy. This year's meeting comes at a critical time as economies grapple with slowing growth, persistent inflation pressures, geopolitical tensions, trade tariffs, and rapid technological change. Key discussions at the forum are expected to center on global growth prospects, the future of technology and artificial intelligence, climate action, as well as energy transition, and the major trends likely to shape markets and investment flows in 2026. Nigeria unveils Davos Nigeria House amidst the meetings as delegations led by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, including the Minister of Trade, among other dignitaries, also presents investments in trade opportunities to investors. And as we end the program, did you know that the number of clinical cases of malaria reported in sub-Saharan Africa decreased by almost 1% between 2009 and 2010, while the number of reported deaths due to malaria increased by 15% during the same period? Now you know. And that's our program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.